On the road again, Diamondbacks baseball is presented by Dos Equis. Keep it interessante. We open up a 9-game road trip with the first of 3 here in Cincinnati. D-backs with Clay Buchholz on the mound against Anthony DeSclafani. It's the D-backs and the Reds on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Great American Ballpark and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs in a dead heat with the Dodgers atop the National League West with an opportunity here as we start a 3-city, 9-game road trip all against last place teams. So Bob, a chance tonight to get something started.
Yeah, this is more for broadcasters and writers and fans, but this is a section of the schedule where the D-backs really need to take advantage. Now, they're going to approach every game as if they're playing the defending world champions, but the reality is you've got the Reds, the Rangers, and the Padres. This is a time for the Diamondbacks to bring their best A game and put these guys in the rearview mirror.
Well, it's been all smiles for David Peralta recently. The freight train just had an enormous series at Chase Field. He's hitting .545 in August. His OPS this month is over 1,500.
18 hits in 33 at-bats on the month, 3 doubles, 3 homers. He also has a triple. He's driven in 5. He scored 8 in those 7 August games. I mean, you talk about player of the month in David Peralta the way he started.
So they have the best defensive team in the league. The offense is rolling right now, and they've got Clay Buchholz on the mound tonight. 3-0 in 3 starts since he returned from that oblique injury.
Yeah, he was throwing the ball well before the injury. No way of knowing how good he was going to be since coming back in those 3 starts. Wins over the Cubs, the Padres, and the Giants. He has been outstanding.
And tonight up against the Reds as we open up the first of 3 in Cincinnati. It's D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By First Watch Restaurants, the Daytime Cafe. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs. Score free Jumbo Jacks. Only at Jack in the Box. By Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By One AZ Credit Union. Let's bank together. By Dos Equis. Keep it interessante. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The Card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the Card today. Living on the air in Cincinnati, Mr. Redlegs and Mr. Buckholz. It's the D-backs in Cincinnati. And the first pitch is coming up next on Fox Sports Arizona.
He's given us so many quality starts. He's done exactly what we wanted him to. And because we knew him, we knew that he would adjust to the analytics part of what we teach here and how we develop a game plan, and he's pitched perfectly into it. And he's going to, you know, obviously down the stretch drive have a huge impact on the success of this team.
And there's no question, Clay Buckholz, since having that flexor tendon surgery in April of 2017 and getting healthy, that's been the key for him. That's why he's been effective. But one other thing Torey Lovullo told me, he said, yes, with the Red Sox, not only was he throwing harder, but he had a lot of pitches. Well, they've slimmed that down, and he no longer throws the slider or the split finger. He'll throw the occasional cutter, but he really relies on the fastball. He can really spin that curveball, and he's got a great changeup. And he has relied more on those pitches to be effective. And sometimes, again, it's addition by subtraction. Mike Butcher loves what Clay Buckholz is doing, working with the catcher, executing the game plan, guys, and hopefully that'll continue here tonight against the Reds. Now up to the booth, Steve and Bob.
All right, Jody, thanks. It is indeed Clay Buckholz on the mound tonight in Cincinnati. Slightly sunny, which is a new twist on things. A lot of cloud cover. There's a chance of thunderstorms, pop-up thing. Kind of, you know, Ohio in August kind of a deal weather-wise here. Buckholz against DeSclafani today.
I think it's more slightly cloudy myself, but take your pick.
Well, a chance for the D-backs opening up, as we mentioned, a 9-game road trip against 3 last-place teams, a rematch with the Reds. D-backs took 2 of 3 from Cincinnati at Chase Field near the end of May. And here's the starting lineup presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
David Peralta's been standing on deck for 45 minutes. That's how hot he is. He can't wait to get in that batter's box. He will be out in left field leading it off for the D-backs. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. A.J. Pollock out in center field. Eduardo Escobar at third base. Steven Souza Jr. will be out in right field. Ketel Marte at second base. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Alex Avila doing the catching tonight for righty Clay Buckholz.
Well, the D-backs begin tonight in a dead heat with those Dodgers. The NL West lead both teams at 12 over 500, 64 and 52. 3.5 up on Colorado, now 7 ahead of the Giants. The Dodgers and Rockies continue their series at Coors Field tonight after Colorado's bullpen imploded again last night. Blew another ball game. And the Giants home hosting Pittsburgh after the Pirates won the series opener in San Francisco. Reds take the field, and we are just about set to go. Your Ram truck starter for Cincinnati on this Military Appreciation Day, Anthony DeSclafani, 28-year-old right-hander, 5-3, just 11 starts with a 4.98 ERA.
Surrendered 15 home runs, which is no surprise, pitching half your ball games in this particular ballpark. Features a 4-seam fastball, a 2-seam sinker, and a slider. Those are his main pitches. He'll mix in an occasional change, occasional curveball.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the Reds defense here tonight.
Philip Ervin will be in left field. Billy Hamilton, a recognizable name, out in center. Mason Williams in right field. It'll be Eugenio Suarez at third base. Jose Peraza at short. Scooter Gennett at second base. Joey Votto, the veteran, over at first base. Tucker Barnhart behind the plate for right-hander Anthony DeSclafani.
And behind the plate for the umpires, calling the balls and strikes, is Jordan Baker. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, is our first base umpire tonight. Greg Gibson is at second, and Vic Carapaz is at third. Time bomb for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Yeah, we touched on it in the open of the show, but the Diamondbacks are in a stretch of the schedule right now where they really need to take care of business. And as I mentioned, they approach every opponent as if it's a Game 7 of the World Series, but especially on this road trip, they really need to make some hay against these teams.
Well, this is the right guy to get it started. David Peralta, coming off his second 4-hit game this week against the Phillies on Wednesday. We showed you David numbers from August at the top of the broadcast. Down with 306 on the year, 19 home runs. Overcast and muggy here in Cincinnati along the banks of the Ohio River. The first of 3 this weekend, the D-backs and the Reds from Great American Ballpark. A fastball misses, it's 1-0. Wednesday was David's 6th game this year with at least 4 hits, and already his 3rd this month, which is remarkable. 6 games this season with at least 4 hits, a new Diamondbacks record. He's ahead 2 balls and no strikes.
By the way he's been swinging it, you get the feeling he might get 6 more before the end of the season. Just barreling up everything lately.
Hitting .545 in the month of August. Taking all the way on 3-0. There's a mid-90s fastball from DeSclafani. That's about where he lives with that pitch. He's got the 4-seam and the 2-seam. And Peralta sends this one out to Ervin in left field, 1 away. Paul Goldschmidt now. Goldie batting .276, 24 home runs. You're always waiting for the monster home run in this ballpark. It's a nice ballpark. It's a very comfortable place from which to watch a game, but it is not a big yard. And you get here in the summertime, you get that muggy air, and the ball just takes off. There's the strike on 1.
Yeah, some of our viewers tonight probably have a bigger backyard than this yard.
It is 404 to dead center. There's a kind of a notch out there behind Billy Hamilton, but you don't have to poke it a whole long way to get it out of here. 328 down the left field line, 325 in right.
You may want to stay tuned for our This Day in Baseball History later on in the
telecast.
I
see what you did there.
Yeah.
I saw your staff gathering the info for that, so a little bit of foreshadowing there. We don't have much wind to speak of tonight. It's muggy and kind of still. We don't have seagulls like we have in San Francisco, but we do have a flock of pigeons that's landed out there in left center.
Yeah, you see some of those spots on the field out there in center. That's where the stage is set up when they have concerts here at the ballpark, which they will have after tomorrow's ball game. There's a country western concert, and I think that's where the stanchions go to put the stage on.
Yeah, it really did a number on the outfield. They put some grass seed down there, and the pigeons are having a feast. 2-2 to Goldie. And he hits it to the pigeons. That drops in shallow center, a one-out single.
Well, it wasn't a tape measure home run. However, it was the 7th hit in 9 at-bats that Goldie has against DeSclafani.
That's some ownage.
Yes, it is.
So one-out base runner for A.J. Pollock. A.J. batting .283. He's got 15 homers. Suarez at third, and in for one, and they roll it. DeSclafani gets the double play to win the first. Clay Buchholz coming up from Cincinnati. Clay Buchholz. He's made 10 starts as a Diamondback, and he has pitched brilliantly. 5-1 at 2.68 ERA. And he's won all 3 of his starts since he was out a month with that oblique injury.
I mean, he threw the ball well before the injury, but then a month on the disabled list, I don't think anybody quite knew what to expect. But if possible, he's been better since coming back off the DL than he was before.
Reds lineup tonight presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Shortstop Jose Peraza will lead it off. Joey Votto at first base. Eugenio Suarez at third base. Scooter Gennett will clean it up playing second base. Phil Irvin out in left field. Mason Williams in right. Tucker Barnhart behind the plate. Anthony DeSclafani, the pitcher, batting 8th. And Billy Hamilton, the center fielder, batting 9th.
The shortstop, Jose Peraza. And there's Buchholz's first pitch in for his strike. Peraza 281, 6 home runs, already a new career high for him. Reds, you'll notice, have a fair amount of green on in their uniforms tonight, except for their batting helmets. They're wearing the green caps. A whole bunch of Air Force recruits were sworn in a ceremony down in the field before the game. It's a military appreciation night here at the ballpark. So do not adjust your tint. Deep to center, AJ has got room out there. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense.
Call it the A team, if we will. Torey Lovullo said these are the guys he's going to run out there mostly on a daily basis. Peralta in left, Pollock in center, Souza Jr. in right field. It'll be Escobar and Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Marte and Goldschmidt on the right side. Alex Avila doing the catching tonight for righty Clay Buchholz.
Joey Votto. don't know if Joey Votto ever has a down year, but the numbers are somewhat pedestrian. 289 and 9 homers. Always choking up on that bat. Swings at the first pitch and sends it the other way. Peralta's on the run toward the line, and he's got it. 2 outs on 4 pitches for Buchholz.
Boy, is that a bonanza. Anytime you can retire Joey Votto on 1 pitch, that's a feather in your cap for Clay Buchholz. That's a guy that generally works a lot of deep at bats, takes his walks, makes you really work to get outs.
And these days, this year, certainly, this is the big bat in the Cincinnati lineup. Eugenio Suarez at 303. And leading the Reds with those 26 home runs and 87 runs batted in.
Talking to some people close to the Reds, they tell similar stories about Eugenio Suarez that we have told about David Peralta lately, how he barrels it up with consistency, and they've said the same thing about Suarez.
He's been the big thumper, rolls into this series riding a 9-game hitting streak. Hitting over 350 during that streak. Second in the National League in RBIs, only 1 behind the Cubs' Javier Baez. That really impresses about that stat is the fact that Suarez missed 16 games back in April when he broke his right thumb. Buchholz behind, 2 balls and 1 strike. On the ground right to Nick Ahmed at shortstop. How about that for a nice quick first inning by Clay Buchholz. No score in Cincinnati, the D-backs and the Reds. By T-Mobile, the Dodgers think their closer Kenley Jansen could be out up to a month. He suffered an irregular heartbeat episode at Colorado, which has happened to him before. It's a condition he lives with, I think exaggerated by the high altitude at Denver, so they're going to have to shut him down for what might be a month.
Yeah, normally I don't mind missing opponents because of some kind of baseball-related injury, but that's scary stuff for Kenley Jansen. Hopefully it will be a month and only a month for him.
And it started to rain here. We're going to have to play through this, I think, over the course of tonight and maybe tomorrow as well. Sunday looks clear, but it's muggy. You've got thunderstorms in the area, the usual drill. Escobar at 280 and 15 homers. Third baseman leads off the D-back second against Anthony DeSclafani.
Well, they call them pop-up storms back here in the Midwest, and they're just as annoying as pop-ups on the internet, you know. And get that off of there. I was reading that story.
Need a ad blocker.
Yeah.
That's called a roof. But most of the fans of the scattered and they're under the overhangs here. Fastball foul back, and it's 1-2 on Eduardo Escobar. So we might have a couple of these off and on over the course of the night. Not supposed to be too bad, though. It's not like an overwhelming chance of rain or anything. Tomorrow looks somewhat dicey. Sunday's supposed to be nice. Escobar chases that one upstairs and strikes out for a strikeout for DeSclafani. He's become mostly a fastball slider guy. He's put away his curveball. There's a slider up.
We mentioned the two different fastballs. The four-seamer, he'll work more across the top of the zone. The two-seamer, when he's looking for ground balls, his swing and a miss pitch is a slider if he ever gets to a two-strike count.
Steven Souza Jr. batting .252 with 3 home runs. There's that DeSclafani fastball. Souza back after sitting out Wednesday's win over the Phillies. He's hit safely in 4 straight games. Trying to bunt his way on and pops it up foul. Got a breaking ball. Now he's down 0-2.
With the rain starting to fall here, the infield grass is a little bit damp.
Bat slipped right out of his hand.
You see that water dripping off the batting helmet, and same thing on the bat. When you slide that hand up the barrel, it's going to be wet.
It's a very light sky right now. A lot of cloud cover. Otto looking up into that cloud cover for the baseball. He's got it 2 down.
Definitely want to get this one in early. Fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Second baseman tonight, Ketel Marte. You mentioned, Bob, and Torey Lovullo told us this before the game today. Now's about the time on the calendar where you're going to roll out the big boys every day. You're going to have a much more regular, consistent lineup. The backups will be more like backups. All the scheduled rest days and off days over the course of the year leading up into this point where everybody hopefully is fresh for what is the stretch run in game number 117 here tonight.
Boy, one thing you watch for, partner, when the rain starts to fall, umpires keep a close eye on the footing out there on the mound. Obviously, a guy throwing 90 to 100 miles an hour, you want to make sure he has a solid base underneath him. On that last delivery, DeSclafani kind of slid on that left foot, kind of lost his toe hold there in the front of the mound. And if it continues to be an issue, I'm sure we'll first see the grounds crew and then probably the tarp.
We had a fair amount of blue sky over the ballpark about 5 minutes ago, in fact, but now it's gloomy. Lights have been on here all afternoon. DeSclafani has already missed a significant amount of time this year. He's only made 11 starts. And had a problem with his oblique in spring training. As Irvin collects that one, DeSclafani is retired 4 in a row. No score in Cincinnati. seats, and they've done some work on the mound for Clay Buchholz.
Yeah, some kitty litter out on the front of the mound to dry up some of that moisture that's accumulated already, and a new shoe scraper on the back of the mound. A piece of white plastic with the spikes sticking off of it that the pitchers go to the back of the mound to clean out their cleats. And a dry rosin bag.
Going to need a bunch of those here tonight. Buchholz, a 1-2-3 first. Now Scooter Gennett, the Reds' all-star second baseman, leads off the Cincinnati second. Clay Buchholz, 3 outs on 8 pitches in the first. Gennett fourth in the National League with that .313 batting average. He's got 17 homers. Most of that damage coming during a monster first half. He's cooled off in the second. D-backs have the overshift on. 3 infielders on the first base side. Buchholz has been tremendous this year getting strike one. There is Gennett, fourth in the league. He starts this series with a 4-game hit streak. Just misses a little low for Jordan Baker, 1-1. Gennett hit .326, 16 home runs during the first half, was named to his first ever All-Star game, but he's cooled off in the second. .246, 1 homer since the break. Ground ball up the middle. Nick Ahmed can't quite get to it. And Gennett is at first, a leadoff single.
Over the mound. Nice effort that time. Just couldn't quite come up with it cleanly. Gennett coming out of that left-handed batter's box was going to make that a really close play at first, even if Nick comes up with it clean.
Well, you'll see some unfamiliar names in the Reds lineup throughout this series. Their outfield has been decimated by injuries and trades. Here's Phillip Ervin, .306 hitter. He's homered twice, including a home run Tuesday at the Mets. Ervin getting some playing time lately. Reds traded Adam Duvall to Atlanta. Jesse Winker is out for the year after shoulder surgery. Scott Schebler is out with a shoulder problem. He won't be back until September. So they've had guys like Phillip Ervin and Mason Williams and a few others out there every night. Gennett does not run a whole lot. He's 3 for 5 in his stolen base attempts. They'll keep him close anyway. Freddie Benavides coaching down there at first for the Reds. Buchholz throws over to first base a lot. A lot more than most guys do. He will slow the game to a screeching halt when he's got traffic around him on the bases. And he's always been like that way ever since his Boston days. Long set and delivers. That one's fouled back, and it's 0-2.
Occasionally a pitcher will throw over to first base when he doesn't like the sign he got from the catcher. Maybe he agreed, okay, yeah, fastball away, and then he goes up into the set position and has second thoughts. I don't really want to throw a fastball away. So rather than just step off, do something constructive. Throw over to first base, push him back a half a step closer to the bag. Maybe you turn the double play.
Fastball away here on 0-2. Just upstairs. Torey Lovullo, when he was coaching in Boston on the Red Sox staff, and Buchholz was there. Torey often controlled some of the infield defense, the running game, and he and Clay would go back and forth all the time about the consistent throws over to first. Maybe we don't need quite so many. Here's the breaking ball, and he gets his first strikeout.
Feeling that's not the last slow curve that Phillip Ervin will see in this ball game tonight. Big swinger way out front and over the top of that curveball.
Buchholz likes the idea that the throws over to first upset the timing of the hitter as well. It's not all about the runner for him. He's a believer in that. Right fielder Mason Williams, 300 hitter, 1 home run. They've got a Mason Williams, Dilson Herrera left-right combo going. Brandon Dixon has seen some time in the outfield as well, so they got a bunch of young guys out there with Billy Hamilton. There's your slowly hit ground ball to second. Ahmed turns it. Clay Buchholz gets out of the second inning with a double play ball, the 4-6-3, and we head to the third. Scoreless in Cincinnati. Slowly hit, but quick enough for Marte and Ahmed. We're set for the third in Cincinnati. Fans, enhanced your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets, enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and a whole lot more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Shortstop Nick Ahmed starts the third against right-hander Anthony DeSclafani. Rain has stopped. We actually have a fair amount of blue sky off to our left here. Along the banks of the Ohio River, first of 3 D-backs and Reds from Great American Ballpark. Nick Ahmed, 243, 16 home runs. Nick, last 18 games, hitting nearly 340. He has been an offensive force this year. What a breakout season it's been for him at the plate. Chop that one foul at third. Ahmed, 18 games, 19 runs batted in. He's been hot.
The occasional day off that Torrey has slotted in for all the guys in the Diamondbacks lineup leading up to the month of August. I think it's really paid dividends for a guy like Nick, who covers so much ground defensively. He's diving to his right, diving to his left, making all the plays. Those guys tend to wear down if you don't give them the occasional day off.
There's a bouncer to shortstop for Peraza. And DeSclafani has retired 5 in a row.
Because it would be great if Nick could finish this season over the next month and a half and continue to put up the kind of numbers that he has. He's going to have himself a stellar offensive season.
Yeah, 16 home runs. D-back's single season record for home runs by a shortstop is 21, set by Stephen Drew back in 08. So Nick has got a good chance to break that mark. And we'll likely see much more consistent playing time for Alex Avila, that left-hand bat in there, 179 and 5 homers. Just about that point in the year where you take the reins off and let them run. Cincinnati puts the overshift on the right-hand side against Avila. There's a fastball for a strike. Alex has hit safely in 5 of his last 6 starts. StatCast AI powered by AWS. There's the Reds defense. He's been a much more consistent offensive producer, really, since the end of June. There's a breaking ball for a strike, 0-2. Mentioned DeSclafani had missed the first 2 months of this season. He's had some injury issues. He's on the 60-day DL for the first 2 months of the year with that left oblique strain. Suffered during a start in spring training. He pitched very well his last time out, DeSclafani. That was Saturday at Washington. Just 1 run, 6 hits, 7 innings. He got a win over the Nationals. And he needed it after struggling for much of July. 7 innings of 1-run ball and a win at Cleveland July 9th, and then went 3 straight starts without completing the 5th inning. He got whacked by the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Phillies. So it was a rough sledding for DeSclafani for much of last month. I mean, 3 straight starts, you don't even get through 5.
That'll send you back to the drawing board, into the video room, trying to figure out what went sideways.
Well, he certainly fixed it Saturday against the Nationals. 1-2 on Avila. Just misses down and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's a good take. It's a dangerous take, but that's a good take. That wasn't a strike. It wasn't really even a hittable ball. Sinker down low and away out of the zone. That was just going to result in a ground ball somewhere.
Pitcher Buchholz on deck. Swing and a miss. DeSclafani gets his 2nd strikeout.
D-back season tickets for the 2019 season are on sale right now. Choose from a full, half, series, or weekend season ticket plan and guarantee postseason priority. Log on now to dbacks.com for more info.
Base is empty, 2 down for Buchholz. Got the low fastball call from Jordan Baker, and DeSclafani ahead 0-2. And he's got his 3rd strikeout. Well, you were referencing a long home run earlier in the ball game. Jody Jackson is out there somewhere with more on that when we come back.
Cincinnati, it's time for our Geico Legacy moment. On this day in 2004, Adam Dunn hit the longest home run in Great American Ballpark history, 535 feet, bouncing off the street below and into the Ohio River. In fact, on a piece of driftwood heading into the Ohio River, which is technically Kentucky. So now what stands here is the boathouse, you know, the river boat. So that is basically where Adam Dunn hit it to. At this point, it might have just gone off the structure here, but what a moment. That was off the late Jose Lima, and that was the Dodgers and the Reds. In fact, Jim Riggleman, Reds manager, was here that day as the Dodgers bench coach, but it is the stuff that this legacy is made of for Adam Dunn, hitting long homers. And guys, that was a pretty special one. It's a really long way away, let me tell you, because I just looked back to the river, and there's still a long way to go back there. The ball rolled quite a long ways, guys.
Yeah, here's Tucker Barnhart, who hits the first pitch from Buchholz up in the air to left for Peralta. There's a road back there, as you can see from there, Jody. And then behind the road, you've got the Ohio River. Now, Wave, where are you exactly?
I am on the second level here of the boathouse, the river boat. So before, of course, there was a structure here, but it wasn't this high. So, you know, the ball, and then a Reds electrician actually retrieved the ball, gave it to Adam Dunn, and it's currently in the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum.
The big donkey.
The big donkey.
Yeah, the big donkey hit one a long way, estimated 535 feet. I don't know how you know for sure, though. It one hopped into the river. I found it interesting that the river is actually considered part of the state of Kentucky, so he hit the ball clean out of the state.
Yeah, it's Kentucky on the other side of the river right there. There's the street, and then you see the Ohio River. That's Covington, Kentucky, across the bridge. That's where General U.S. Grant lived for a while.
With a big donkey, when he touched one off, he could hit balls out of sight, which he did that particular day. I mean, that's the vantage point where Jody is right now. She was out there earlier during batting practice. It went that far, then over everything that's out in that vicinity toward the river that we showed you just a moment ago.
Called strike three on the breaking ball. DeSclafani, the pitcher, batting eighth, strikes out. Second punch out for Buchholz.
That's one of the great things about the game of baseball. Long home runs that people talk about for years and years and years. But Glen Allen Hill home run at Wrigley that landed on the rooftop across the streets. The Dave Kingman home run that landed 4 houses down at Wrigley Field.
Reggie Jackson in the All-Star game at Old Tiger Stadium.
Tiger Stadium up in the light tower.
There's Billy Hamilton, the center fielder, bats ninth. Escobar creeps in from third. Goldie from first. Hamilton with tremendous speed. And he tries to bunt his way on, but fouls it off.
I mean, we still talk about the Mark McGwire batting practice home run at then Bank One Ballpark when he hit it out one of the panels just to the left to straightaway center field out onto the streets of Phoenix.
You can hit them pretty far in this ballpark, that's for sure. And there is absolutely no wind right now. It is very muggy and still. Rain has let up. This is shallow center. Pollock coming in. Ahmed drifting out, and Nick's got it. And another quick inning for Clay Buchholz. We are through 3 in Cincinnati. No score. he's faced. First time through the order, he gave up only one hit. A Goldie single up the middle. Peralta flying out to lead it off. What a series it was for the freight train against the Phillies. 10 for 16. With a double, a triple, he homered twice. 10 hits in a 3-game set. Unbelievable. Highest average in the National League in August. David was at 545 when we started. He's plummeted down to 529.
All the way down to 529. It's a free fall.
That one slicing into the seats and out of play. It's 2-2. David's 10 hits in a 3-game series tied Gonzo's D-backs record set against the Expos back in 1999. And Gonzo is on the trip with us.
I think he's going to monitor David the rest of the season to make sure he doesn't break his record.
He insisted on coming along. This is in the air to left field for Irvin. Gonzo working D-backs radio alongside the Moral Compass Mike Farron. The Governor Greg Schulte and Tom Candiotti are off for this series. Governor and Nancy are on another cruise. Candy will join us in Texas. So Gonzo's here for the weekend. And as usual, we all went to dinner last night. He always pays. It's unbelievable. He's a great road trip companion. Oldie's got the only hit.
He's a human ATM machine.
That's not why we like to have him along, but frankly, he does come in handy every now and then.
Yes, it does.
A whole bunch of people out to dinner last night at Precinct, which, as you told me, is a great steak place here in Cincinnati.
Been a huge hangout for Major League Baseball players over the years. Jeff Ruby, the owner, was close friends with Pete Rose and Johnny Bench and some of the guys from the Big Red Machine. So they would always steer the visiting teams out to the Precinct and never had a bad meal.
Yeah, we got steered. Here's one of the great Reds legends, Pete Rose, number 14. Got some great statues from some of the Big Red Machine members out in front of the ballpark here. They did a nice job, and they continue to do a nice job around Great American Ballpark. Got a little area with some bars and restaurants along the river. Got some parks and bike paths, walking trails along the Ohio River here in downtown. The Bengals Stadium, where they had a game last night, actually, is just a block or two away.
I think some of the guys were planning on trying to catch the last half of that exhibition game between the Bears and the Bengals last night.
The Bears.
The Bears.
And that is there. And DeSclafani has now retired 9 straight Diamondbacks. Yeah, we got here, the plane landed, and the bus drove us to the hotel, and everybody in town was wearing an Andy Dalton Bengals jersey. Well, Diamondbacks, Bob, haven't been able to do much with DeSclafani here. AJ grounded into a double play to win the first. No, he didn't. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, down there at first. AJ had base hits in each of the last 2 games in the Phillies series. Crowd filing back into their seats now that the rain has let up. There's that breaking ball. DeSclafani's got the 4-seam, the 2-seam, and the slider. He's pretty much put away his big curveball. And as a result, that fastball that's been getting hit a lot harder lately. But so far, so good for him here tonight. AJ likes to hit in this ballpark, as a lot of guys do. Not done a whole lot of damage per se, but he's got a lot of base hits. 9 games here, 17 for 34.
2-2. Escobar would be next. That's belted down the line, but foul. It's been exactly 30 games since AJ came off the disabled list after he fractured that bone in his left thumb back in the middle of May. And in those 30 games, he's hit .269 with 4 homers. So he hasn't really gotten going full speed AJ Pollock like we're used to, but he's now got 30 games under his belt since the injury.
Hit hard and by Peraza at short into left. A 2-out single for Pollock. Second hit for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, AJ's had a few games here or there where it looks like he is about to break out. Just missing some pitches, hitting high fly balls to the warning track in left center and right center, but still waiting for that big bust out series or road trip or month.
You know it's coming.
You know it's coming.
Eduardo Escobar, third baseman, struck out his first time. It was pouring rain when Escobar had his first at bat tonight. What an addition this has been. Escobar, 10 games with the D-backs, 13 hits, 5 of them doubles. He's leading the major leagues with 42 doubles. He has fit right in from the first day. There's that fastball down and away, 1-1. He's 6 clear of the field in terms of major league doubles leaders.
You know, a lot of those 42 doubles have been line drives into the gap or down one of the foul lines, but a lot of those have just been hustle doubles. He puts the ball in play, sees an outfielder moving laterally after the ball, and just keeps on going.
Not under this one. Hamilton coming in from center. We're in Cincinnati, the land of the hit king, Pete Rose. The head first slide into third. No score at Great American Ballpark.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACS50 at papajohns.com.
Big day here in the Natty. We're only down 1 Brenneman today.
Yeah, that's a step in the right direction.
Holy Moses. Here's Jose Peraza, the shortstop. Junior is here. Dad is off. great Marty Brenneman taking at least tonight off on Reds radio. That one is off the glove of Escobar at third, and Peraza's aboard.
Escobar playing in to take the bunt away that time from Jose Peraza, and anytime you do that, it limits your range. That ball skips off the wet grass. He's only able to get a little bit of leather on it and knock it down. Possibly saved an extra base hit there. If that ball gets down into the left field corner, pretty good chance Peraza ends up at second.
Joey Votto. Now Peraza will run 18 for 22 in his stolen base attempts this year. Votto flied out on the first pitch his first time up.
Votto has added something new to his setup in that left-handed batter's box. He kind of pops up and down a little bit after he gets his stance. Everything's where it needs to be. He kind of raises up and down out of his crouch a little bit. He's always tinkering with his swing. Right there.
He always takes the close ones. He knows when it's a strike, as he's done in most of the last 7 years. He has walked this year more than he struck out, leading the National League in on base percentage, as he's done each of the 2 previous seasons.
It's a pretty commanding lead too.
Yeah. Votto having another one of those years where the power kind of goes away and the walk totals and the on base percentage goes way up. 36 home runs last season, only 9 this year. He has led the league in bases on balls 5 times in his career. He's at the top on base percentage in the league 6 times. Tough one for Peralta, long run toward the line, and David tracks it down. Second time that Votto was flying out to left field. Here's the big RBI man, Eugenio Suarez. Grounded out to win the first. He's already matched his career high set last season, 26 home runs. 87 RBIs, already a new career best. He's got Peraza at first and 1 out. Left field, here comes David, going to have to play it on a hop. And it's a base hit for Suarez.
Yes, too much topspin on that drive off the bat of Eugenio Suarez. Looked like it was going to carry out to David Peralta initially, but really dive bombed down in front of him out there in shallow left field. Went down and got that curveball, but imparted a lot of topspin on that line drive. And drops in front of David for a 1-out single, putting runners at first and second.
For Scooter Gennett, who singled his first time up. He's now hit safely in 5 straight games. Fastball's a strike, 0-1. Once again, Buchholz throws that first pitch strike. That's been key for him this year.
Well, you know, if you have trouble finding a bat that you really like, one thing you can do is like Scooter Gennett did, start your own bat company.
He did that?
Yeah, he and his brother Joe started this show bat company. He's using one here tonight.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's one way to get it exactly the way you want it. He's
become quite an offensive player. after leaving Milwaukee. Had a big year here in Cincinnati last season. 27 home runs. He knocked in 97. And an all-star this year. Not your typical cleanup man at 5'10", 185, but he's got some thump. Oh, that was a high fastball, but Jordan Baker says strike two. That was almost as tall as Jeanette.
That seems funny. Little Scooter Jeanette, the cleanup hitter, right down on the knob of the bat, trying to get some lift and hit the ball in the air. And Joey Votto choked up on the bat, hitting out of a crouch.
Well, the Reds have not done very well at all in these situations as a team, hitting only .203 with runners in scoring position since the All-Star break. Another high fastball fouled away. Cincinnati starts out this series 15 under 500. They are 50-65, last place in the NL Central. Interim skipper Jim Riggleman took over early in the year after Brian Price was let go. His club 16.5 games behind the Cubs for the NL Central lead. Buchholz trying to put away Jeanette. 2 on, 1 out. One out of play. Got the curveball down low. Reds just came back from a 9-game 3-city road trip on which they went 2-7. They were at the Tigers, the Nationals, and the Mets. And Jim Riggleman, the interim skipper, has aired his club out a couple of times behind closed doors for some poor fundamental play. He admitted it had to get loud once in a while, dissatisfied with the way things have gone. He took over a club that was 3-15 out of the gate. That's when Brian Price was let go. 2-2.
Well, occasionally, especially when you've got a lot of young players on your ball club and you keep telling them the importance of fundamentals, the importance of good defense, good base running, it starts sounding like Charlie Brown's mom.
That is really good.
And they just stop listening. Oh, here we go again. Another speech about how we've got to focus and concentrate. So I'm not going to focus or concentrate. Sometimes you have to get their attention.
Down the line, Peralta headed for the corner, and David's got it in foul ground. Boy, he's had to make several running catches over in that direction. And he had just enough room that time, 2 outs.
Had to work hard to get to that fly ball to left field against Scooter Jeanette. Started off with 3 fastballs, a 4-seamer, a 2-seamer way up high out of the zone. Comes back with another 4-seamer that got that call. Now he's got a hack at that high fastball, fouled one off, fouled off a curveball, took that cutter inside, and then lofted that lazy fly ball down the line on another high fastball. David, just enough room down in that corner to make the play. Our nationwide vision center's eye on the game.
He looked like he had a little more room than he thought he might. There's a fair amount of foul ground in that corner. Here's Phillip Ervin, the left fielder. 1-2 out. Breaking ball's a ball, 1-0. Ervin is a young guy they like, former first-round pick out of Samford University. That was 5 years ago. But they're getting a chance to get a look at some of these young guys, especially the outfielders. Ball is gone. Schebler's hurt. Winker is hurt. And so you've got Ervin, who is hitting almost .320 when he's been in the starting lineup this year, just 20 starts. And he's a guy who can play all 3 outfield spots. He's made a couple of starts in center field. He's out there in left field tonight.
If he can spot that cutter out there on the outside corner, he could throw it all night long. to Phillip Ervin. He's just not covering that outside part of the plate right now. Front shoulder, front hip flying open. I don't know if he can reach that pitch out there on the outside corner.
Avila going back down there, it looks like. Another breaking ball. Down and away, and it's 2-2. Yeah, Clay Buchholz this year mixing up his straight four-seam fastball and that cut fastball in equal parts. And what's been remarkable about Clay this year is off of those two pitches, he mixes everything up evenly. His pie chart is very similar. No one pitch over any other. So it really is a legit 5-pitch mix. Curveball, changeup, sinker. Changeup's been an exceptional pitch for him lately, finishing off a lot of at-bats with it. Fastball away, and it's full 3-2. Mason Williams on deck. This will get the runners started. Peraza, the shortstop, from second. Suarez, the third baseman, from first. Runners on the move. Pitch is just low and the bases are full. First walk issued by Buchholz. That one did not miss by much. So here's Williams, who hit into a double play to end the second, his first time up.
Mason Williams, American guitar songwriter, comedy writer. Had a song back in 1968 called Classical Gas. Ask your grandparents about it. It was a rockin' guitar song.
Classical Gas.
Yeah. The other Mason Williams, who I'm talking about, used to be a writer for the Smothers Brothers and Glenn Campbell and even Saturday Night Live for a while.
There's the fastball for a strike. Well, this Mason Williams has had just a handful of major league at-bats over the last 3 years with the Yankees. He was a hot Yankee prospect for a while, kind of fizzled out in their system, and then signed a minor league deal with the Reds in November. Fourth-round pick out of high school in Winter Garden, Florida. On the ground to second, right to Ketel Marte, and Buchholz leaves them loaded. As we get through 4, still no score. Steven Souza Jr. in Cincinnati will lead off the D-backs fifth. Red Legs. Tomorrow, the D-backs continue this series with Cincinnati. As coverage starts at 3 o'clock, D-backs live pregame show. And then Sunday, it's breakfast with the D-backs as we wrap it up from Ohio at 9:30 in the morning right here on Fox Sports Arizona and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Diamondbacks with only 2 hits, both singles, through 4 innings against right-hander Anthony DeSclafani. And Steven Souza Jr. leads off the 5th. Ouch.
We saw Steven Souza Jr. attempt to bunt for a base hit in his first at bat, which accomplished something. It's drawn in Suarez down there at third base to a position where he normally wouldn't play for Steven Souza. And if Souza would happen to pull one down that third baseline, pretty good chance he would get it by Suarez right now.
He's already got that protector on the inside of that front foot.
I always like that. Even guys who never bunt for a base hit, if you go to the plate and know you're going to take a pitch, show bunt. What does it hurt? You know you're going to take the pitch anyway. It might at least be a red flag for the defense to come in a step or two to guard against the bunt.
Swing and a miss on that slider, now down 0-2. Fastball away. Well, Souza's a good runner. He's fast. Good base runner, 16 steals with Tampa Bay last year. Fastball just off the plate, but Jordan Baker rings him up. 4 strikeouts for DeSclafani.
Appeared to be just a touch off that outside corner. A little tailing action, maybe got the strike call that time from Jordan Baker.
Ketel Marte flied out his first time up tonight. D-back so far, singles by Goldie in the first and Pollock in the 4th. That's been it. Boy, Ketel Marte, he's been hot. He starts this road trip with a 7-game hitting streak. He's hit safely in every game this month. And he's hitting .361 since the All-Star break. 1-1. So he's become a much more consistent part of this offense ever since the end of May. Ball in. 5 strikeouts for DeSclafani.
Fastball in the inside corner right there. That one very similar to the pitch that struck out Steven Souza Jr. A little bit of tailing action on that fastball right out on the corner.
Base is empty. 2 down for Nick Ahmed. Nick rounded out his first time up. Just foul at third.
It's funny, you come into this ballpark and watch batting practice, and guys are hitting the ball out of sight, out of the state sometimes. Yeah, you expect it to be a slugfest with the ball flying all over the place. Bit of pitcher's duel, huh?
DeSclafani's done a good job mixing up his fastballs and slider. That slider's looked like a pretty good pitch for him so far, getting a lot of swings and misses with it. Buchholz pitched his way out of a bases loaded mess in the 4th. Well, Baker had been calling those pitches on the outside edge as strike earlier in this inning. That one was ball 1. We'll take it.
A little bit lower than the other called strikes out there on the outside corner. That may have been the difference maker.
Suarez backhands that one at third. They head to the bottom of the fifth. No score. The D-backs and the Reds. In Cincinnati, Ohio, Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you. The first of a three-game series, D-backs and the Reds. Clay Buchholz back out there in a scoreless fifth inning. Tucker Barnhart, the Reds catcher, leads it off. Shift is on. That's a fair ball. Goldie's got it, and they retire Barnhart.
Nice, quick, efficient out right there. That's what Clay Buchholz has done pretty much all night long. He's shown good command of all of his stuff. Has shown just a couple of curveballs in the ball game. Let his defense work behind him. A nice double play right there to get him out of an inning. And then with the bases loaded in the fourth, able to get the ground ball to Ketel Marte to escape the damage there. He had given up 2 hits and a walk in that inning, but got the ground ball to get out of it unscathed.
Scoreless baseball through 4 1/3. The pitcher DeSclafani bats 8th for Cincinnati. We did not play a game yesterday, but we left from the ballpark for this road trip, of course. And Bob, when I was over there in the office getting some paperwork done, I went to our mailbox.
Oh, nice.
And there were a couple of letters that had to make the trip, including one that I wish we'd had a game yesterday to read. Because we got one here from Harold Deppie. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Harold. D-E-P-P-E. Harold Deppie from Tucson. His dad is also named Harold. And they watch all the Diamondback games. He says, neither one of us were big baseball fans in the younger years, but my dad started watching Diamondbacks games several years ago, told me how much he enjoyed the game. Now they watch a lot of the games together. Anyway, his dad was 100 years old yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, so we didn't have a game yesterday. We do today. So happy 100th to Harold in Tucson. And thanks for supporting the Diamondbacks. A short hop for Marte at second.
Absolutely, Harold. We're glad you're with us.
Thanks for your letter. And we got one other one that I think is particularly important for you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And it comes to us from Pastor Mike and Nisi Farland in Tucson, who had a couple of comments about the games. They watch all the time. They really enjoy it. But he had a question about the wives. How do your wives, this is for you and I, how do your wives deal with your lives in baseball and broadcasting as Billy Hamilton steps in? And I know that's particularly appropriate for you, I believe, today.
Yes.
Because going to have to be quick.
My wife Joan and I are celebrating our 44th wedding anniversary today.
Happy anniversary, Joan.
Yes, indeed.
Scoreless through 5 in Cincinnati.
things going. Like, they grown so fast. They're growing up so fast, but it's good. It's always good because it's a good motivation for me every time. It doesn't matter if I go like 0 for 4 or 4 for 4. I zoom and see her and my wife. Everything changed. So it's, you know, it's just good feelings, and you are ready to forget about whatever happened in the game.
Well, David Peralta on his daughter Sophia and the support of his wife Jordan. Sophia turning 1 on Tuesday, which is also David's birthday. He will turn 31. I asked him if dad power was real, and he said absolutely.
Yeah, I heard the same thing, Jody, when we sat down with Steven Souza Jr. and Nick Ahmed, who both became dads in the last couple of years. And you know, the 0 for 4s go away quick when you get home. That's nice. Alex Avila leads off the 6th.
Perspective. That's what children provide ball players. You can get so wrapped up in the game and your own success or failures in the game, but when you've got that big fan at home that doesn't really care what you did, they're just glad to see you. That changes everything. So you come home one day and your daughter says, geez, you went 0 for 4 again?
Wow. What's the deal with that, Lacey?
What's the deal with that?
And then you come out on the other side. You're glued to Red Sox games, watching Michael and the Red Sox. And Gonzo sat at dinner last night with a thing in his ear, listening to Jacob's Augusta Green Jackets game in the Sally League last night. You're glued to the set or the iPad or whatever it is every game. So it comes full circle. Ball misses in. 2-2 on the D-backs catcher. D-backs hitting .284 as a team since the All-Star break. That leads the National League. And the defense is ranked by defensive runs saved as the best in baseball. Another fastball in. And Avila's worked at full 3-2. So the offense is clicking along here. The defense has been about the best in the game all year long. The pitching's been outstanding lately. Set to create some momentum on this 9-game road trip against 3 last place teams. 3 in Cincinnati, 2 at Texas, and then 4 at San Diego. Foul tip. Barnhart hangs on, and that's 6 strikeouts for DeSclafani.
Fastball that time from DeSclafani. He's been working inside, in to Alex Avila that entire at bat, but elevates one up and out over the plate and gets the swing and a miss he's looking for.
Well, 6 strikeouts. He's not walked a batter. He's only given up 2 hits, both singles. 1 out for Buchholz. DeSclafani lost his footing a bit on the front of that mound. Very thick, humid air here tonight. Not any breeze really at all to speak of. Using that foot thing they put back there that you mentioned earlier. Clean off the spikes, get that mud out of there. See the dry kitty litter on the front of the mound, the landing spot. Spins Buchholz around, and it's 2-2.
And once you start putting that drying agent on the field, it kind of clumps in your shoes. You get a little mud, a little wet dirt, and then you step on that dry stuff, and it just sticks to the bottom of your shoe. That's why they have that plastic thing on the back of the mound.
There's a fastball. Now he's got 7 strikeouts. He's punched out 4 the last 5 he's faced.
Hispanic Heritage Day presented by Bud Light is just a few weeks away. Saturday, September 8th at Chase Field. Enjoy a pregame D-backs APS Fiesta, including food, live music, and more. Plus, the first 20,000 fans will get the Ketel Marte Luchador bobblehead, courtesy of Pepsi. Visit dbacks.com for more information.
See you in September. Here's Peralta 0 for 2. David, a big off balance swing there. Chopper. Suarez in front of Peraza. Sclafani, who set down 9 straight earlier, has retired 7 in a row now. Still no score. Baseball presented by Dos Equis. Keep it interessante. Summer night here in Cincinnati. No score, D-backs in red. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you. There's our flight crew on hand for the ball game. They take good care of us on these road trips. Nice of you to give them your tickets.
Huh?
Oh,
they're in the upper deck.
Right behind the dugout, here's Peraza. He has flat out and single. A little blooper that will drop in front of Pollock. Peraza got it started in the 4th when the Reds loaded the bases against Buchholz, and now he's got a single to kick off the 6th.
Well, you even think about the base hits in this game, and there haven't been many, but nothing has been hit hard. Little floaters like this have dropped in for base hits for both ball clubs. I haven't really seen anything squared up yet in this game.
Yeah,
Testament to both pitchers, the way they're throwing the ball early on.
Votto has twice flied out to left. You can see how much bat handle is under the bottom hand. Right about there. He really chokes up on that bat. Buchholz at 50 pitches. Breaking ball is in there, 0-1. Interesting take by Joey Votto, the native Canadian, for Players Weekend, which is coming up in I think the weekend after next, you know, where they have the nicknames on the shirts and everything. He will have on the back of his jersey as his nickname, "In Flanders Fields," which is an ode to the World War I poem written by a Canadian poet. Which I thought was a kind of a cool move. Third ball misses away.
Not nearly as cool as the Diamondbacks closer.
He's got the first ever emoji name on the back of the shirt, Brad Boxberger.
Box and a burger. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's coming up soon. But the In Flanders Fields poem, written in 1915 by a Canadian military doctor named John McCrae.
during World War I. So you've got that classical famous poetry, and you've got modern emojis. That's the D-backs jersey.
Boxberger. That's outstanding.
Joey Votto is a native of Toronto. So he wanted to do something to honor his Canadian heritage. Nice touch, I think. 1-2. Let's go down to Jody.
Well, guys, you talk about Players Weekend and Brad Boxberger. He said he really wanted to do it last year, but I guess couldn't get it done in time, so it wasn't something that he was able to have. So he's pretty excited about it this year. He said he's kind of an emoji guy. He does use emojis, and they asked these guys, I guess, way back in spring training. So this year, that's what he went with.
Very original, no doubt about that. Breaking new ground. 1-2 on Joey Votto.
We've been watching Votto. I mentioned the slight change, bopping up and down, but now with 2 strikes, he just gets into a deep crouch. His knees bend a little more and a little more as Clay is waiting to deliver that pitch to home plate. He bends over at the waist a little bit more and a little bit more, hitting out of an exaggerated crouch with 2 strikes.
Boys, Clay Buchholz, 54 pitches, 41 strikes. Chopped at that breaking ball. Still 1-2. Suarez, the big RBI man, on deck. Buchholz got out of the bases loaded jam in the 4th. Now some work to do here to start the 6th. Votto sends one out to right center. That's a base hit. Peraza will dig for 3rd. He'll make it. And Cincinnati has runners in the corners with nobody out.
Base hit just massaged into play out there in the shallow center field. Very abbreviated chop-like swing at that pitch up and away from Joey Votto. Just loops it out there into shallow right center field.
Yeah, it's just kind of a thud off the bat. Not much of a crack, kind of a dead ball here, kind of a feel to it tonight. And now you've got Suarez, who is grounded out and singled. 2nd in the National League and runs batted in. On the right hand side. Marte near the bag at 2nd. Goldie holding Votto on the base at 1st. That one was fouled back. A fastball up. Suarez only 1 behind the Cubs. Javier Baez for the league RBI lead. That was career base hit number 1700 for Joey Votto. Left field for Peralta, backing up on the warning track. Peraza's at 3rd. Throws into 2nd, and it's 1-0 Reds. So now Suarez ties Baez for the league RBI lead. You know, considering who was up at the plate, runners on the corners, nobody out. That's not the worst thing that could have happened.
Minimize the damage. That's what pitchers start to think about when they get traffic on base, nobody out, you're facing the teeth of the other team's order. You're happy to escape with only 1 run allowed if you can get through the rest of this inning.
So a run is in. Votto at 1st, 1 out. Jeanette has singled and flied out. Popped it up behind the screen. Out of play. Foley playing behind the runner, Votto at first. How about that? 60 pitches, 46 strikes. He has walked 1, struck out 2. Giving up 5 hits, all singles. Just missed away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and one on Scooter Gennett. Phillip Ervin on deck. Cincinnati 5 hits. They've left 3. D-backs only 2 hits, both singles. Two fouled away.
Well, we might see a little bit of a pitch around here once the count went into Scooter Gennett's favor, but Clay Buchholz continues to go right at that strike zone with a right-handed hitter in the on-deck circle.
That's Ervin, who was struck out and walked. Another 3-2 to Scooter Gennett. Got him.
How about that? Good sequence right there to Scooter Gennett. Dangerous left-handed pull hitter. Started him with a cut fastball. He fouled that one away. Pitch was on the inside part of the plate. Then he misses just off the corner with that fastball. Just off the corner with another one. Tried to get him to bite on a changeup. He didn't swing at it. But then a cutter in, fouled off. Cutter in the middle of the plate, fouled off. And then just dots a 4-seamer on that outside corner at 91. Our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
2 outs for Ervin. Ervin 302 this year, couple of homers, both those homers coming this month, including Tuesday when the Reds were at Citi Field against the Mets. This is inside. It's a ball and a strike.
Look how many times Clay Buchholz has missed farther in or farther away. Good pitchers don't make mistakes over the heart of the plate. If they're trying to hit the inside corner and they miss, it's going to be farther inside where that hitter can't get to it. And Buchholz has done that all night long around the edges.
Just a shade off for Jordan Baker 2-1.
It's kind of the progression of a young pitcher, and Clay Buchholz was a real hard thrower early on in his career and probably came up through the minor league system just throwing the fastball as hard as he could right for the middle of the strike zone. But then you grow in the game, you learn, you experience, and you realize, hey, that's a tough way to make a living when I'm not throwing 97 anymore. I'm going to work out on the corners, and he's been able to successfully make that transition from a power pitcher into a finesse pitcher.
Buchholz was a first-round draft pick by Boston in '05 out of Angelina College. That's in Lufkin, Texas. He's from Lumberton, Texas. Came up with the Red Sox in 2007 and threw a no-hitter in his second major league start as a 22-year-old rookie. He no-hit the Orioles at Fenway Park. And he puts a fastball by Irvin, 4 strikeouts, but the Reds grab a 1-0 lead. Diamondbacks are trailing the Reds 1-0 as we start the 7th inning here at Great American Ballpark. Catch the D-backs and the Angels series at Chase Field with the D-backs Value Pack. That's August 21 and 22. You'll get a game ticket, a hot dog, and a Pepsi, all for only $25. For tickets, visit dbacks.com/value. We get a look at the American League West when we come back from this road trip. 2 against the Angels and 3 over Players Weekend against Seattle. Goldie leads off the 7th against Anthony DeSclafani, who has retired 16 of the last 17 batters he's faced. Goldie has one of the 2 D-back hits, a single in the 1st, Pollock singled in the 4th, and that has been all the offense so far. Starting to get a little late here at Great American Ballpark. DeSclafani's had that fastball slider combo working, and he has been outstanding so far. He has struck out 7. He's not walked a batter. There's a look at downtown Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark. City skyline right behind us. Ohio River out in front of us. And Kentucky on the other side.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Goldie has never hit a ton in this ballpark. 20 games here at Cincinnati. He's a career .247 hitter. He has homered 5 times here. 2-2. Couldn't check, and DeSclafani now has 8 strikeouts.
I'm not sure if DeSclafani is pitching away from his normal patterns or whether his stuff is just that good tonight, but I mentioned it an inning or two ago. There just hasn't been a lot of loud contact. There hasn't even really been a lot of good swings against DeSclafani tonight. Hard slider there, maybe a cutter at 89, working away from Goldie. Kind of a half swing that time for strike 3.
He has struck out 5 of the last 7 D-backs he's faced. Here's AJ. Has hit into a double play and singled right to Peraza at shortstop. Quickly 2 down. Well, DeSclafani, between the 2 base hits, Goldie in the first and Pollock in the fourth, retired 9 straight. And now since AJ's single, he's retired 9 straight again. Escobar, the hitter, he's 0 for 2. Just a bit outside.
And Escobar taking all the way right there. That's one thing you like about a veteran hitter, and their Diamondbacks have a bunch of them in this lineup that sense what is needed in this particular inning. Goldie struck out a quick 1-pitch out by AJ Pollock, and Escobar wants to make sure that DeSclafani doesn't have a lightning quick inning, so he's going to take until he gets a strike and then try to work as long and bad as he possibly can.
DeSclafani bats 8th in the Reds lineup. His spot is due up 3rd in the home half of the 7th, and you saw the Reds bullpen starts to stir. 1-2 on Eduardo Escobar.
Right-hander Jared Hughes warming up for the Reds.
DeSclafani at 90 pitches, 60 strikes. Eduardo Escobar, he's got a 7-game hit streak on the line. He's hit safely in 9 of 10 games since he was acquired from the Minnesota Twins. Reds have the shift on. Here's the 2-2. Boy, Anthony DeSclafani has retired 19 of the last 20 he's faced. 9 strikeouts. He leads it 1-0. Trails at 1-0 as we start the bottom of the 7th inning at Cincinnati. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Game 2 of the 3-game set tomorrow. D-backs Live pregame show straight up at 3 o'clock. Robbie Ray against the Dark Knight and Harvey. First pitch at 3:40 on Fox Sports Arizona. And Harvey, good pitch. Mason Williams 0 for 2. Shift is on. Buchholz at 70 pitches, 52 for strikes. 0-1 on Mason Williams. There's a look at the overshift on the first base side. Reds, as we mentioned earlier, really have had their outfield core decimated. They already traded Adam Duvall to the Atlanta Braves. Jesse Winker's been lost for the year, shoulder surgery. He's done. Scott Schebler is out with a shoulder problem after banging into an outfield wall. He won't be back until September. So they got a bunch of youngsters and no names in the outfield around Billy Hamilton these days. And Williams punts that one foul. It's 1-2. Got guys like Phillip Ervin and Mason Williams in the outfield. Brandon Dixon, Dilson Herrera. It's been that kind of year in Cincinnati.
Yeah, they really miss Schebler and Winker, both left-handed bats, both swinging the bat extremely well this year.
And Schebler was a big 30 home run guy last season for him. There's a fly ball for Souza. Run of the game scored on a Eugenio Suarez sacrifice fly, following singles by Peraza and Vano in the 6th. There's Tucker Barnhart, the catcher, 0 for 2. Pitcher spot is up next. That's 8th in the order for Jim Riggleman, and DeSclafani is out in the on-deck circle. Leave the shift on. There's ball 1. Barnhart going back to late last month, right now stuck in a 2 for 21 skid up there. Switch hitting catcher. Left hand side's his power side. 6 of the 7 homers coming as a left hand batter. Buchholz behind 2 balls and no strikes. Slams this one out to left center, and that will reach the wall. Peralta over to pick it up. A 1-out double for Barnhart, his 15th of the year.
Well, unfortunately, the closest thing we've seen to a hard hit ball comes here with 1 out in the 7th, and it comes to the Reds catcher, Tucker Barnhart. Buchholz elevated a fastball out there on the outside corner. Barnhart stays right on it, splits that gap in left center for a 1-out double.
And DeSclafani, the pitcher, will hit with Barnhart at second and 1 out. DeSclafani has struck out looking and grounded out. He's 0 for 2.
You know, partner, how long we had to wait for the Diamondbacks' first grand slam of the season. Trip to Chicago when Nick Ahmed finally touched one up with the bases loaded. The Reds have hit 9 slams this year. The only reason I mention that is because the man at the plate has 1 of them.
Yeah, they've got some pitchers that can hit. Lorenzen's a good 2-way player for him.
Lorenzen's grand slam this season came as a pinch hitter, so technically not as a pitcher, but he's a pitcher by trade that can really swing the bat.
One and two. DeSclafani, the pitcher, bats 8th. Billy Hamilton on deck in the 9 spot. Kind of the idea of having a speedy guy who can bat 9th behind the pitcher, because once the lineup turns over, you essentially get yourself another leadoff man with speed at the top of the order. And that one drops into right. Barnhart stops at third. A base hit for DeSclafani.
Off the end of the bat, but got enough of it to get it over the head of Ketel Marte in front of Steven Souza. Just a little dunker out there in the shallow right field.
And Torey Lovullo telling Mike Butcher, let's get some guys up in the bullpen. They switched the bullpens here this year at Great American Ballpark. Diamondbacks were way out in the right field corner. Now the D-back bullpen is out in left center field as Torey will make a mound visit.
This could be just as much about bunt defense as anything else. We know Billy Hamilton has the kind of speed and will bunt for a base hit at any time. This would be possibly one of those safety squeeze situations that we see Joe Madden and the Cubs use so often, with runners at first and third, 1 out.
Torey Lovullo talking, it seems much more to Nick Ahmed than to the pitcher Clay Buchholz in this situation. There's the bullpen. Andrew Chafin starting to get loose.
Just some speculation here on my part, but the bullpen in left center field, where the Diamondbacks and all visiting teams are now, gets a whole lot of sunshine during day games. The one out in the right field corner is a little more protected, so that could possibly be the reason for switching the bullpens.
Hamilton 0 for 2. First and third, 1 out. D-backs trail it 1-0 in the 7th. Him off with a curveball, 0-1. Buchholz this year against lefties. Hamilton a switch hitter, but in this case batting left-handed. Very effective with that cutter changeup combo. Cutter in, changeup away. Breaking ball misses low. Butcher still working the bullpen phone. Goldie creeping in from first. No sign of a bunt from Hamilton, and it's 2-1.
I don't know if you noticed that time, Billy Hamilton, as he took his stance there, and Buchholz was just about ready to deliver the pitch, his eyes shot over to third base to see where Escobar was. Boy, guys with speed that can bunt like Billy Hamilton, they're always checking their surroundings. Who's in, who's back, where might I be able to bunt the ball right here and leg it out for an infield hit?
Outfield playing shallow against Hamilton. Curveball. Buchholz is behind 3-1. Trying to get Hamilton to chase a breaking ball down. Peraza, the shortstop, and the leadoff man on deck. Tucker Barnhart at third, the pitcher Anthony DeSclafani at first. 1 out. Now he shows bunt. That will stay fair. Barnhart scores and Buchholz throws it away. It rolls all the way up the right field line. Here comes DeSclafani. Marte's throw is not in time. A 2-run bunt for Billy Hamilton, and it's 3-0 Cincinnati. The pitcher just scored from first on a bunt attempt.
That's just a disaster. That was it looked like a squeeze play, a suicide squeeze. The runner started down the line and then hesitated, but Clay Buchholz, in his effort to pick up that ball and throw to first base, just took himself right in line with the base runner, Billy Hamilton.
And now the lineup turns over. The leadoff man, Peraza, 2 for 3, singled twice. That's a single, an RBI, an error on Buchholz. He won.
Barnhart was going all the way. That is indeed a suicide squeeze, and you can see Buchholz picks up that ball. He's right on the first base line. The only chance he had was to throw it over the shoulder of Billy Hamilton, and unfortunately Ketel Marte just did not pick up the throw. Gets down the right field line, allowing DeSclafani also to come around and score.
Still just 1 out, Hamilton in second. Peraza shoots one down the line, foul. He singled and scored his last time up. Fly ball to center for AJ. Hamilton at second, and he will tag and dig for third. Here's Votto. Votto singled his last time up, 1 for 3. A single, career hit number 1,700 for Votto. Left-hander Andrew Chafin is ready in the bullpen, but Torey Lovullo will stick with a right-hander Buchholz. Votto this year a .237 hitter against left-handers. With Buchholz behind in the count, he'll give him the intentional walk and work to the right-hand hitting Suarez. The only problem with that is Suarez is tied for the league lead in RBIs. He drove in a run last time up with a sacrifice fly, made it 1-0 Reds. He also singled in the 4th. Takes off. Escobar's got it at third. Suarez not running. Caught it on the hop, and they complete the out. But the Reds take a 3-0 lead.
Earlier in the rain, struck out Eduardo Escobar with the breaking ball, but it's all been about that fastball slider command, just dotting the outside corner to right-handers with that hard slider, spotting his fastball in and out. Probably his best outing of the year here tonight.
Through 7 innings, he's only 1 over the minimum. He has retired the last 10 he's faced and 19 of the last 20. 9 strikeouts. He's given up only 2 hits. He's not walked a batter. And Steven Souza Jr. 0 for 2 leads off the D-backs 8th. He's got a base hit. That'll get it started. Souza's now hit safely in 5 straight, a leadoff single.
Yeah, the first time the Diamondbacks ever saw Anthony DeSclafani rather, was back in 2016, about 2 years ago today, as a matter of fact. Complete game, 4 hits, shutout, struck out 9, only walked 1. Looks like Jim Riggleman is not going to risk anything with his right hand.
Yeah, DeSclafani did not pitch for the Reds last year. He missed the whole season with an elbow problem. He was sensational here tonight. He will lead with a 3-0 lead. Back after this.
I hate clipping my toenails. I hate it. So yeah, I went to my spot and got taken care of. I'm okay admitting that now, you know what I mean? I'm comfortable, I enjoy it. If you haven't done it yet, you should definitely get it done. There's just something about getting over the fact of like maybe being a little ticklish or a little embarrassed, but just relaxing and letting someone else rub your feet. And you have to be able to communicate. Because I have sensitive feet and ticklish feet, so I have to tell them like, hey, please be like really firm. If you don't, like, I might kick you because I'm ticklish. Okay. So.
Archie Bradley and Pedicures, that and more on the Local 9. That is Sunday, right after the game, guys. Great interviews with Todd Walsh. That's Yoshi Hirano, Mike Butcher, and Archie, which, by the way, it's Archie's 26th birthday today. And he was letting everyone know it. He said he was open for gifts. He's accepting gifts. And he said he was registered on Amazon. I don't know if that was a joke or not, but throwing that out there.
Del Marte to first. Votto thought about turning 2. Souza moves up. They settle for 1 at first. Yeah, I'm not. I know you with the feet.
Forget it.
It's not going to work.
If you can massage my feet through my sneakers, go for it. But I'm not taking my shoes and socks off.
New pitcher for the Reds. Right-hander Jared Hughes. Look at this. 51 appearances. His ERA is 1.39. Go get him. He is really good. But they got a runner down there at second. 1 out now for Nick Ahmed, who's grounded out twice, 0 for 2.
That's the guy Jim Riggleman usually can count on to get a little bit of length. 13 times he's gone more than 1 inning. 7 times he's pitched at least 2 innings out of the Reds bullpen.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite here. Got a big hand when he came into the ball game. Jared Hughes, since May the 4th, over his last 35 appearances, has an ERA of 1.09. That's pretty good. Just 5 earned runs allowed in his last 41 innings.
Crowding Nick inside. It's 0-2.
He's got that low 3/4 arm angle, which gives him a little more sweep on his breaking ball, but also a lot of tailing, sinking action on that fastball.
Bullpen busy. Andrew Chafin, one left-hander ready, another getting warmed up. That's Jake Diekman on the right. Scooter Gennett will lead off the home half of the 8th for Cincinnati. Left-hand batter. Ahmed fights one off over the head of Peraza. Souza had to hold up. He's in at third. D-backs with one out in the 8th inning. We'll get the tying run to the plate as Alex Avila.
That bowling ball sinker didn't quite get in there far enough, and Nick rips it into left field. I think another reason Jared Hughes is in this game for the Reds, he's only given up 2 home runs in 51 appearances coming into play tonight. And in this ballpark, we know that balls hit in the air are always a danger.
We'll see if Alex Avila can lift one up. He has struck out twice against DeSclafani, 0-2. Alex has hit safely in 5 of his last 6 starts. Fires that thing in there, 0-1. Avila in his last 15 games is hitting almost 360. So he's been very productive lately. Souza's at third, Ahmed at first, 1 out. That one misses low. Diamondbacks have been out hit 8-4. They trail at 3-0. Cincinnati's bullpen staying busy. Mayor Garrett, the left-hander. Iglesias, the right-hander. Vila bounces one to Gennett. Shovel toss to Peraza. Double pump as he avoids Ahmed, and they turn the double play. In Cincinnati, Diamondbacks trail at 3-0.
For Clay Buchholz, but he was really good through the first 6 innings of this ball game. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing is just the way Clay Buchholz went about his business against this Reds team in a hitter-friendly ballpark. Unfortunately, it's a bunt that went about 30 feet up the first baseline. It was really his undoing, a throwing error that allowed the Reds pitcher to come around and score from first base, and that's where we stand right now.
Our Gila River game summary. Buchholz allowed 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th. And now he's out of the ball game as Jake Diekman, the left-hander, is on to start the Reds 8th against Scooter Gennett. D-backs have been out hit 8-4. They're down 3-zip. Gennett has singled, flat out, struck out, 1 for 3. Jake Diekman, the left-hander, still trying to get his feet underneath him as a Diamondback. A 3.95 ERA, his 52nd appearance, acquired at the trade deadline for the Texas Rangers. 0-2. Gennett handles himself against lefties. He's .292 against left-handers, including 4 home runs. Called strike 3. The fastball's in there.
Plan now to catch the D-backs versus Cubs 3-game series at Chase Field September 17th, 18th, and 19th. This is a series you do not want to miss. Secure your D-backs Cubs seats now at dbacks.com. That could turn out to be a huge series for both of those teams.
Left fielder Phillip Ervin has walked and struck out twice. Just cannot. What happened in this game? Can you tell me? It's a very odd game. As you said earlier, no one's really hit a ball hard, maybe other than Barnhart's double to left center. Both guys pitch extremely well. Buchholz and Discliffe. You look up, suddenly it's 3-0. The game's almost over. We just started.
It seems like it. Occasionally there are games where you just. It seems like the pitchers are running at 45 RPM and the hitters are at 33 1/3. You just can't seem to quite catch up to the fastballs. Always out in front of the off-speed deliveries, and both pitchers were really good tonight.
Souza on the run. Marte can't quite get there. Boy, Steven Souza Jr. ran a long way to get to that one. All kinds of furniture down there in foul ground.
That was going to be a tough play for any of the 3 Diamondbacks defenders. It looked like Marte had a beat on it, took a look to see where Souza was out of the corner of his eye, and then was just a little late getting to the spot. I don't know if anybody could get to that one.
Just a weird dog days of August kind of game here tonight. Hard to put a finger on exactly what went wrong other than the Buchholz throwing error. Jake Diekman looking good so far. He's punched out 2. Mason Williams will be the hitter.
I know it's easy for fans to beat on the new guy when he doesn't come in and have immediate success, but Jake Diekman is going to be a big part of this bullpen moving forward. He's filthy on left-handed hitters. His stuff plays against righties. As you said, just having a little trouble getting his legs underneath him. Looks a lot more like the guy the Diamondbacks expected to get here tonight.
Second left-hand batter he faces in this inning is Mason Williams, the right fielder, 0 for 3. It's still only 3-0, hardly insurmountable, certainly not in this ballpark. Pitcher spot will lead off the 9th for the Diamondbacks. And then Peralta, Goldie, Pollock, Escobar, top of the order after that. Now that is a shot into right center. Souza has it on the backhand. He cuts it off and holds Mason Williams to a single. We mentioned really the only hard hit ball tonight was by the Reds catcher Tucker Barnhart, a double to left center in the 7th. And here's the switch hitter right now.
He's hit for a higher average as a right-handed hitter, but most of his power has come as a lefty this year. More of just a contact spray hitter from the right side.
With a batting average of nearly 320 as a right-hand batter. D-backs beginning tonight, tied for the National League West lead with the Dodgers. Both teams 12 over 500, 64 and 52. 3.5 up on Colorado, 7 games ahead of the Giants. Dodgers and Rockies again tonight in Denver. Giants home tonight hosting Pittsburgh.
Kenta Maeda against John Gray in that Dodgers Colorado game.
How about this? In the last 10 days, first place in the National League West has changed 10 times. It's gone from one of the Dodgers or D-backs up in the standings 6 times. They've been tied 4 times. So the division lead has changed every day for the last 10 days. And you better get used to that down the stretch here.
Buckle
neck
up.
and neck, yeah. Game 117 of 162 here tonight. It's getting late. Behind on Tucker Barnhart, 3-1. Pitcher spot is up next for Cincinnati. Wilson Herrera, the right-hand batter, in the on-deck circle. Punch foul, and it's full 3-2. Not the start you were looking for on a 9-game road trip against 3 last-place teams, the Reds, the Rangers, and the Padres. But still time here, down only 3-0 in the 8th. Williams on the run, and there's a strike. Diekman punches out 3 in the inning. Strands the 2-out single. 9th inning coming up. MLB.com Steve Gilbert likes to call it the LeMahieu shift. They should have put it on off Kenta Maeda. And the Rockies have a 2-1 lead over the Dodgers. They're in the 3rd at Coors Field. Giants and Pirates in San Francisco later tonight. Here in Cincinnati, it's 3-0 Reds. Diamondbacks coming up against the Cincinnati closer, the right-hander Raisel Iglesias. 21 and 24 in his save opportunities, and ERA just a tick over 2.5. He's tough. Pitcher spot will lead it off. Daniel Descalso, the hitter. Brandon Dixon takes over at first base for Joey Votto. Votto has missed the last 2 games with a knee bruise, so he comes out. Dixon goes in. Descalso, 257, 9 homers. Iglesias throws hard. There's a strike, 0-1. Daniel, 34 plate appearances as a pinch hitter, hitting .321. In the air, right field for Mason Williams.
As you mentioned, Iglesias throws extremely hard. He showed that on the first delivery to Daniel Descalso in this at bat. Just rears back and fires 95 on that outside corner with a little bit of movement. Comes back with an 89-mile-an-hour changeup, and then what appeared to be a slider at 85. Right in the middle of the zone, but popped up to right field for the first out of the inning. Our nationwide vision center's eye on the game.
David Peralta 0 for 3. Jody standing by. D-backs live post-game show follows our ball game. Game 2 of this series tomorrow. Robbie Ray against the Dark Knight Matt Harvey. D-backs live pre-game show tomorrow, straight up at 3 o'clock on Fox Sports Arizona. And then Sunday, Zach Godley and Luis Castillo. That's off to Texas and San Diego. Chop to second. Scooter Gennett cleans it up. Last man standing is Paul Goldschmidt. Just kind of looking for the offense here tonight. They ran into a hot pitcher in D. Sclafani, who at one point retired 19 out of 20. Finished with 9 strikeouts and no walks. D-backs only 4 hits. Goldie has one of them, a single in the first. Fastball's in, 1-0.
You see Iglesias do that every now and again too. Really drop down from the side, gets even more tailing action on that mid-90s fastball.
That's a rocket into left center. It'll roll all the way to the wall. Goldie trying to get something started. A 2-out double in the 9th. He's 2 for 4.
Loudest contact of the night for a Diamondbacks hitter. Goldie with a solid line drive into that gap in left center. Unfortunately, it comes with 2 outs in the 9th inning, trailing by 3 runs in the game. Going to need a few more of those.
Top tying run is on deck. And Eduardo Escobar, the hitter, is A.J. Pollock. A.J. singled in the fourth. He's 1 for 3 tonight. D-backs now with 5 hits. Ball down and away. So strike, says Jordan Baker. It's 1-1. Iglesias has fallen behind 3-1. You want to walk AJ, bring Escobar up as the tying run. Where do we sign? The way he's hit right-hand pitchers this year.
But if you're AJ, get ready to hit some heat right here. You got to believe Iglesias is going to go with his bread and butter pitch at 95, 96 mile an hour tailing fastball. Turn it up.
Here it is. He got it at 97. Full count, 3-2. Little over 19,000 on a Friday night in Cincinnati, and are on their feet at Great American Ballpark. Goldie at second, 2 outs, 3-2 on A.J. Pollock. To the slider, and the Reds take the opener 3-0. A disappointing start to the road trip for the Diamondbacks. Will now need a Rockies win to maintain their tie with the Dodgers atop the NL West.
And more importantly, they need to find out who locked up the bat rack. Right? Another game with just a lack of offense for the Diamondbacks. Weren't able to get anything sustained at all tonight.
We'll take a quick break. Much more from Cincinnati after this.